Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lando's Lessons. Happy to be back. Sorry for the delay. Not posting as quickly as I wanted to, but good reason. I have a very important and interesting topic to myself that I was gonna just post, and I realized that I didn't have it formulaic enough or formulated enough to feel confident in posting it yet. So, got a good video coming. Not going to even give it ETA. I'm not going to put that pressure out there for myself. Just want to make sure that I get it done correctly. So, anywho, let's go ahead and get into today's topic. So, basically, I am a bit of a homebody. I don't really like to be vulnerable and open myself up as much as I would like to, just because honestly, just it doesn't feel like it's worth the risk a lot of times. The negatives outweigh the positives in my mind, and that's something that I need to change. Let's just face it. And I am working on that, but this weekend I made some good steps in a different way and wanted to make sure that I documented slash reflected upon it. So when it comes to going out and about, when it comes to actually, getting out of the house and doing something, when there's downtime, I am the guy who just hops on his phone, or worst of all, and I'll say it, I'll admit it, because I know I'm not alone in this. I will act like I'm doing something or look busy so people ignore me, when really I'm checking the weather that I already knew about multiple times already. But just staying busy, keeping my head down, not wanting to seem like I am open for conversation. It is a guilty pleasure, if you will, and but I also, like I said, know that many other people do it. So it's something that I need to break. And what I loved about this weekend was I was in a completely new area, new place, and I had several conversations with random strangers and passersby. And it was just a nice reminder that you just never know who in the world you're going to be able to talk to. You never know their life experiences, you never know what they're going through or what they've done without taking that step forward. And sorry. Anyway, and with that being said, I got some good advice. I had a little bit of a change in perspective just because of some conversations I had. For example, I was at this restaurant grabbing some lunch, and the tables were set up where you had, individual tables all taken up, and then you had the dreaded, in my opinion, communal table where it's a big, think lunchroom in middle school, high school, where you can sit up to like 12 to 15 people, and you all just share the space, and end up having to sit there, and met this amazing couple who we ended up talking about some of the games that were on TV, and they mentioned that they had met in college, and that basically they'd been together for 15 plus years, and they were going through like their origin story, the awkwardness of first love, and the in-betweens into today, present day, where they've been married for over a decade. And it was just absolutely beautiful to hear. It's one of those stories of you know you, just chance encounters and finding that person that ends up changing your life for the better for the rest of your life, ideally. And you could just see the light in their eyes, like spark, as they were telling and reminiscing slash diving into the nostalgic bits of their love life. And it was just, I don't know, it was delightful, man. It was inspiring as someone who doesn't have anything going on. It was just, it was beautiful, man. I'm the first to say it. Even in my most depressed, I've always loved love. The idea of it, what it means, the power behind it, and getting this firsthand um, recount, I guess, for lack of a better word. I know there's another word I'd rather use, but firsthand recount from two people, and getting to know, how they met, how life is going now, what they do for fun, and things of that nature. It was just really cool. Um, so yeah, that is just another example of what I was mentioning, of you just never know who you're talking to, or even more so, what perspective or what experience that you'll gain through this brief conversation. Typically speaking, what I would have been doing at that communal lunch table is eating, and I would have had my phone up right to the side, playing something on YouTube, or if I had my earbuds in, listening to a book or podcast or something like that's what I would have been doing. But luckily this time, before, because it wasn't exactly my choice to start the conversation in this particular case, but before I was able to get into that, you know, robotic habit, if you will, they sparked up conversation first, and you know that's where we started diving into it. And my entire time there with lunch, I didn't look at my phone once. It was all about that moment, um, and we need more of that. We just do. It's so easy to put on the front of being busy, or even more so distracting yourself so that these type of opportunities don't happen. Like I mentioned before, I am guilty of the looking down at my phone and really not doing anything but just looking busy. It's embarrassing to say, but it's true. And I'm also guilty of the distraction side of things, where I play a game on my phone, or you know, put in my earbuds or whatever, just to shut off the possibility of outside conversation. And that's, at the end of the day, that's not to the benefit of anybody. To the experiences that you're missing out on potentially, but also, and give yourself credit here, you do have a life worth living, you do have experiences worth sharing, and it's hard to do that if you are tying yourself down to distractions or to looking busy, quote unquote. So yeah, it was really great to hear that story in this particular case, just because I don't have anything going on in my life as far as romance is concerned, but it was a spark, if you will, that kind of relit underneath me of like, oh yeah, it is possible. It's not just in the movies. You know what I mean? Um, and then, while I had other conversations throughout my time out of town, the other one that stuck out to me was, it was this person who basically was an immigrant from another country, moved here when they were relatively young, didn't speak the language of English, and had a complete and other culture shift from where they were when they were younger to moving here and having to, um, not adapt. Well, I guess, yeah, kind of adapt to the American way of life. You know, our culture, our language, the habitual habits that we just kind of take for granted, but are completely different than any other place around the world. And it was enlightening just to get a sense of perspective. Um, but like I said, the things that we do that we take for granted that others haven't experienced, you know what I mean? And it in itself was just a nice reminder that the world is bigger than what I see it as. Because unfortunately, and I desperately want to change this, I haven't used my passport. I've never left the country. I've been blessed to have friends who are well traveled, who are immigrants, who have had these experiences, and I've been able to gain a little sense of perspective. But myself, nah, dude, I am a Southerner from the United States, and while I have been in multiple states, I haven't gone anywhere worth, you know, really not even bragging about, but I feel like even worth talking about, which I know that's not true, but that's how I feel. And getting this, not deep dive, but this little look into someone's life experiences of having to move here and completely leave everything they've known behind and just uproot everything. Like it's the conversation, that the point of the conversation that really hit me was having to adapt and change to the culture that you're in without losing yourself and forgetting who you were and who you are. That right there, it probably was about 2 minutes of the 7 minute conversation, but it's something I'm still thinking about today. It's just, what the hell do I know? You know what I mean? Like, I have picked up a lot. I have learned a lot, but there's so much more out there that I have to learn. And that conversation with that young gentleman was, which I'm pretty sure he was younger than me, um, was just so enlightening. For anyone who takes the time and says that I'm done learning or I know everything I need to know, because I've heard that before. I've thought that before, to be quite fair. And that just comes from a place of complete and utter arrogance and ignorance. That's a deadly combo. Being arrogant and ignorant, come on now. And I've had that thought before, and once again, like I said, I've heard that before. Of I'm done learning or I know what I need to know. Like, shame. It was just eye opening, man. And both of those conversations made me realize the importance of putting yourself out there, of of the idea of you never know who you're talking to, you never know their life experiences, you never know what they're going through, and that can be flipped on its head and faced to yourself as well. People don't know what you've gone through. People don't know your experiences. People don't know what you could share with them that could be a benefit towards their lives. So it's a two-way street. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable because you never know what someone needs to hear from your experiences. On the same light, in the same light, but on the different side of the road, getting confused in my metaphors here. Um, be able to be open, be willing to be open to hear and put yourself in a spot where you can be present to other people. So don't be distracted by your phone. Don't take that time to put in your earbuds. Don't act like you're really busy, but you're really just checking the weather for the 18th time today. It's important to have these type of conversations. It's important to be open in these times of passing because you just never fucking know who is out there. And I'm sorry for cussing, but I say it with added emphasis, and there's better ways to do that. I know this, but it's something that I am really experiencing right now in reflection. You just don't know, but it's so worth it to find out. Because I'll tell you this, looking at your phone for the 18th time, going to listen to this podcast that you know can wait until your drive home, or checking your Insta for the billionth time when you know there's nothing on there that is really calling to that level of importance. When there's someone right there who could be the reason that your life changes forever, an opportunity that you never saw coming, the blossoming and beginning of a love, a new friend, someone that you can depend upon for the rest of your life, but you would never know it because you're too tied up into the clickety clack and scrollity scroll of that little device in our pocket. And I say this with the utmost confidence because I'm guilty of it too. So, yeah, in short, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Have those conversations, have those brief interactions with the people in passing. Even a smile and a hello go a long way. I'm not saying that everything's going to be a monumental change for the better. I'm not going to say that every experience is going to be positive. Sure, I have those moments where I say hi and I never get a reply back, and everyone just goes about their day, but you don't take that personally. Because guess what? At least you tried. You know what I mean? Not everyone's going to be open. And that goes whether you're talking about yourself or whether you're talking about the random strangers in your life. So, yeah, stay open to those conversations. Don't be afraid to, share a bit about yourself and, do it with the utmost honesty. And even more so, take what you can from the conversations from others because sometimes they hit you at just the right time. Sometimes they're that spark that gets you back going. The two conversations I referenced today, the blossoming of love and how it looks, 15 years later, the story of the immigrant coming to America and having to completely change everything they believed up until then, in order to be frank, survive. It was just a good sense of perspective that I'm happy that I gained because I didn't do what I normally do, which would shut out the people around me. Anyway, got a good video coming. I'm gonna continue to do a little bit more research and game planning on as far as how I want to actually have these discussions. But anywho, yeah, keep yourself open. Know that you are not alone. Even when you are alone, you are not. Know that you are valued. Know that you are loved. And know that you are stronger than you would ever know. Appreciate y'all being here, and I can't wait to see you next time. Take care. Bye.